Welcome learners to B.A.Hons English Part 3 Paper 6 session. The topic being The Heart of the Matter by Greene. Today we shall discuss Book 2 Part 1. Major Scobie, the District Commissioner Mr. Perrott and Mrs. Perrott, Bruce await at Pende the arrival of shipwrecked passengers who survived the ordeal for 40 consecutive days. Wilson is also at Pende to inspect the USA store. All of them talk about Alec's cousin who has been caught up transporting diamonds within a parrot's crop. However, Talit claims that Yusuf framed him by bartering out his cousin's parrot with a diamond filled parrot. And this goes on and on. They keep discussing, and everyone giving his own input of information. Scobie has been a diarist all his life. In it, he jots down every evening the barest possible record of the relevant details in his life. They are short, enigmatic, and devoid of any emotion at all. He offers prayer to God every night out of habit. He does not drink, copulate, or lie, but he does not seek his lack of sin as a virtue. He never considers himself important enough for God to take notice of him either. The next morning, the survivors arrive. Many have died on way, many are injured. One such survivor, Miss Malcott, is in a hurry to get back to work. Scooby has disturbing thoughts of Louise, that she may easily have been one such patient being carried away on a stretcher. Seeing Wilson, Scooby shares that he is glad that Louise is safe. When a little sick girl appears on a stretcher, Scooby fails to understand God and wonders, why did he let this child survive in distress for 40 days after her parents were drowned? Then follows a sickly young widow clutching a stamp album with her eyes fast shut. For Scobie, this image would be long etched on memory. That same evening, Scobie, the parrots, Bruce gather, and each one feels the pinch of weariness. The condition of the survivors is discussed, and the doctor informs that the girl will not survive and the fate of the young widow is at stake. Scobie is reminded of Pemberton and contemplates what an absurd thing it is to expect happiness in a world so full of misery. He is glad that at this point of time his needs are few. Scobie then proceeds to the restroom where the patients are recovering. On meeting Mrs. Bowles, he tells her that he feels restless and pitiful. She requests him to attend to the patients while she runs to the adjacent dispensary for some work. The sick little girl wakes up and calls him father. He tries to console her by making rabbit signs on the pillow, little realizing that the girl is dead. Mrs. Bowles returns and reprimands him harshly to stop talking as she is already dead. Scooby is unable to attend the child's funeral, so he stays back at the restroom. He reads out to a little boy called Fisher from the book A Bishop Among the Bantus. Fisher is an inquisitive as well as a curious boy, so he asks a lot of questions. After a few readings, Mrs. Bowles instructs Scobie to leave. The room has Mrs. Helen Rolt, the young widow, as well, who asks him, when shall he read again? And he muses in silence that he must bring some stamps for her album. Wilson tries to provoke Scobie by telling that he knows of the arrangements between him and Yusuf. Then he brings Louise and tells him that he is too good for her. But Scobie remains calm and blames the heat of the sun for his outbursts. Meanwhile, Wilson is embarrassed that Scobie has seen him cry. While walking around the Nissen huts, the abode of The minor officials, Scobie wonders if he might be happy in darkness, alone, with the rain falling, without love or pity. And he finds a recently vacant hut with lights on, so he knocks to see who the new tenant is. To his surprise, the door is opened by none other than Mrs. Helen Rolt, the young widow. She asks him to stay till the rain stops. He understands her psychological need to connect with another human being in an aimless conversation about anything but the shipwreck. She gradually opens up to him and talks about her childhood in England, and Scobie listens with the intense interest one feels in a stranger's life, the interest the young mistake for love. Later, she accepts that now she can sleep well. Scobie leaves her feeling an immense sense of security. They are friends and who can never be anything else than friends. They are safely divided because of the age gap and marriage. A case of theft encages Scobie the next day. Later, he writes a letter to his wife Louise about his day to day engagements and that she is often on his mind during the day, signing off the letter as Sticky. He knows that this name will make her feel happy. Scobie is summoned to the commissioner's office where the commissioner is accompanied with Colonel Wright, the colonial secretary who has come to discuss Talit's business. He remains offensive all the time, commenting that it is his job to stop diamond smuggling. At this point, the evidence against Talit was only sufficient for an interrogation and not an arrest. As a result, Talit is angry and hires a lawyer. Scobie is constantly inquired about his source of knowledge, and always he gives the same reply, that is, Yusuf is the source of all his knowledge. Questions like how often he meets Yusuf and with so meager a salary, how is he able to send his wife away? He keeps silent, sorry. Obviously, he does not tell them about the loan taken from Yusuf. In a fit of rage, he stands up and leaves the office. On his way out, tells that if anyone wants him within an hour, he will be at Yusuf's house. Without any clue to this lie, he eventually goes to his house and finds him, that is Yusuf, in a state of bromide induced slumber. He's sleepy all the time. Yusuf accepts his hand in framing Talit's cousin. He does accept it. Scobie admits that it makes him feel stupid like a fool. Yusuf's stand is that it was done in everyone's best interest. Scobie leaves, telling he shall continue to pay back the loans. Yusuf's parting shot is that one day he will need his friendship and he is left wondering if he'll ever be that desperate. Later, takes to confessions and tells Father Rank that he feels empty and tired of his religion. Father suggests a long leave. Scobie brings some stamps for Helen's album. They have become comfortable in each other's company. Even Scobie opens up and talks for the first time about his dead daughter. Probably the shared experience with death brings them closer. She discloses that a man named Baxter constantly flirts with her. Her father is a clergy, but she is not religious. She wants to continue living in West Coast, and Scobie might be able to get her a job as a secretary. He feels comfortable in a way he has not felt with a woman since Louise was young. He knows that his body has forgotten the feelings of lust. The feelings of lust has all vanished, and also that Helen is ugly, which precludes anything physical from happening between them. He was so sure of himself. However, Baxter arrives and knocks at the hut's door. Helen and Scobie wait till he departs. Then the two of them get closer, and it is clear that what they both thought was safety proves to have been the camouflage of an enemy who works in terms of friendship, trust, and pity. Now there is a sense of celebration, a feeling he thought he lost in his youth. As he makes his way home, Scooby considers his criminal like actions. He knows that sadness lurks in the future and feels tired by all the lies he would sometime have to tell. He felt the wounds of those victims who had not yet bled. It is to be continued in next session. Thank you.